Some days everything's a challenge. Some days your enthusiasm and your energy, they're just gone. Other days, you're just done. So what's different? What's missing? To understand how to get your motivation back, I think we need to know what makes it return. Let's discuss. So, what makes your motivation return? There's probably a lot of factors, but I want to highlight just 4 in this video. Say you're chilling on the sofa and you're really hungry, but you don't want to move. The desire might be so strong that if you don't have anything at home to cook or just to snack on, you actually might get dressed and go out and get it. Or at the very least, it gives you the strength to reach for your mobile and make a food delivery. But even if you order takeout, you would still have to get up and go to the door anyway. So I think desire can be a definite factor, one of many factors, to allow motivation to return. So the previous example kind of fits here too, because the food itself could be the reward. So desire and reward, they're really similar, but they are different. For example, after a really long work day, you might find the motivation to drive that extra 10 minutes to the petrol station to fill up the tank. Why would you do that? Maybe you do it for your partner so they don't have to do it in the morning. The reward here simply being the pleasure you get from a small act of kindness for somebody that you care about. Obligation, how can that make you motivated? Well, say you're a parent and you're a parent with a newborn baby and you're really sleep deprived and you just want to snooze. Except the baby has woken up, it won't stop crying, and through the obligation to the child, you get up and be an awesome mum or dad. It's the obligation of care that gives you the motivation to get up, get out of bed, and do something opposite to what you want to do. Now on the surface, guilt, just the word guilt, can seem like a negative word, but I don't think you have to think of it that way. Let me give you an example. Say your friend is playing a gig across town, it's like a Wednesday night, it's like a school night. You've had a long day at work or a long day at school or college or whatever, and you're tired and you kind of can't really be bothered to go anywhere or to do anything. They asked you to come, but you haven't confirmed yet. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with saying no. In fact, sometimes it's super important to say no. I think no gets a really bad rep, but really you've got to be thinking also about what you want and what's good for you. But just in this example, say that you do actually go to the gig, even though it's not your genre. The guilt of not going actually gives you the motivation to go to the gig, which in the end can actually be a really positive thing because your friend will be super happy, super grateful. So knowing what makes motivation return is one thing, but how do we put that into practice? Perhaps you've heard of this one before. Action leads to motivation, motivation leads back to action. It's kind of an awkward circle. It's like a chicken and egg situation. It's kind of true, but why? I mean, how are you supposed to be motivated if you can't take the action because you have no motivation? It's kind of confusing. How do you initialize action without any motivation? Perhaps with a task, you dial it back and look at a way to make it a little bit easier. Say you decide to become healthier and you consider starting the gym. There's a couple of problems initially with starting the gym though. You currently don't do any exercise, so the motivation needs to be very high. You have to travel to the gym before you can even start working out. It's going to cost you extra money. It's going to be a significant jump up from what you're currently doing exercise-wise, and what else? And it's going to take up time. So you think about it and you ponder it a little bit and you kind of decide, no, I'm good. See, each of those steps, if you think of like motivation as money in a bank inside your head, each of those steps is like a deduction of this limited amount of motivation, say you've got that day. So instead, how could we make the exercise situation easier? Well, you could listen to music or a podcast and just simply go for a walk. You could do a home workout or like follow along a YouTube video, like a HIIT workout or a class or something. It's free, requires no travel. Then if you stick at these more simpler transitions, over time, you start to notice a difference in your body, or you notice a different number on the scale. And seeing that change provides the motivation that then you could take to potentially step it up a bit, and then at that point transition from like home workouts or walks to the gym. So you start with something easier and then allow it to give you the motivation to then take more action and motivation and action and motivate. Do you see what I mean? So what do you do if you lack the motivation to shoot that YouTube video, or paint the bedroom, or go to IKEA and buy and put up a wardrobe? Well, if you see a large task as one task, something that takes up a lot of effort, that effort can definitely hold back motivation. So instead, try breaking it down into smaller steps. Step 1, research and decide what wardrobe you want to get. Step 2, drive to IKEA, have some delicious meatballs and buy it. Step 3, unpack it and build it. Step 4, load it with clothes, job done. Doing it this way, the smaller tasks, although they make up the bigger tasks, they're just more manageable, they're more doable. And although they amount to the same thing, it just seems somewhat easier this way. And if it's not something that's time sensitive, you could even spread these smaller steps, these smaller tasks over different days. You know, especially if your motivation is in short supply, then you're using smaller amounts of it at a time so you don't feel drained. Sometimes I also think you don't have the motivation right now. Maybe you're a little bit burnt out with work, maybe you're just a little bit tired with the amount of tasks you have to do in your personal life, or sometimes you just need a break. You know, you just need to detach. And therefore, if you just allow yourself a bit of space, if you just allow yourself to have some patience, sometimes the motivation can just return on its own. It's important to note that you do not need to feel guilty about taking some downtime if you need it. You know, the now is just as important as the future, and the future you will be better if you take care of the present you. If you've got an awesome tip for how to get motivation back that I've not discussed, please let me know in the comments. It will help me, it will help other people. That'd be awesome. If anything in the video is useful, please give it a like. I'm a brand new channel, so that would super help out. Maybe sub if you want to discuss more topics. Thanks for watching, have a good day or night, and I'll catch you soon. Ciao for now.